Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. So, yep, on the treadmill today. What's interesting is that we slept 1 hour earlier, but I'm about to black out again for some reason. Interesting, right? Yeah, so even though we slept an hour earlier, I'm still pretty knocked out. Anyways, also, this treadmill was really filthy. Actually, no, matter of fact, basically all these treadmills are filthy, so I had to wipe this one down. All of them had like sweat drips on them, all of them. But it's okay because I had to wipe this one, so it's fine. Anyways, yeah, we did lots of Overwatch last night because I really couldn't do any ARC videos. Also, I didn't even do a story video like I said I was gonna. I completely did not do a story video yesterday. I could have, but I didn't. I was too busy. Honestly, I forgot. I was too busy doing the Overwatch thing. Right, kind of my fault. And then near the end, I couldn't even do any more story videos because it's too late. So unfortunate. Now, yeah, for Overwatch, we might just have to stop playing support. I kind of stopped only because I saw that teammate who was like 400 plus games of Mercy who said that they were dropping from plat. They dropped from plat to silver 4, so it's kind of crazy. And I think it's because, well, actually they said it in the chat as well. Basically, you can't climb ranked with support solo. You need to do it as a DPS. The only way to rank up with support is with a teammate who's DPS or tank, you know? Because if you're trying to climb by yourself, it's far too unreliable because you can't carry as a support. It really depends on your tank and DPS. So if your DPS or attack is trash, even though you're good at healing, you can't do much about it. So yeah, there's actually really little to talk about because that's what we did yesterday. Was just play Overwatch, and like I said, I just explained what I learned. Right, learned that playing support is just you can do good, but at the same time, it really just depends on your team at the end of the day. So yeah, really should just go back to maining DPS now. When it comes to DPS, it's really interesting, right? Because Tracer requires a lot more skill. Soldier doesn't, but you do a lot more damage and kill things more. Sorry, I'm not really talking much of my. Whoops. I didn't even talk. Okay. I wasn't talking because, well, first of all, I need to take this mask off, but I couldn't. I didn't get the opportunity to because there's a. That's loud. No, I don't care. I could always edit that out. I can always just edit that out. First, I need to do some architecture, engineering, and then I'll take the mask off. Didn't get the opportunity to yet. There's not really much to talk about there. There's not really much to talk about, except this week there's going to be a lot of hunting and fishing. Yeah, that's good enough. That's good enough. All right, I'll take the mask off soon. The only reason I couldn't take the mask off was because when I was near the stretching area, there was like a 3 o'clock individual near me, hovering always too close. All right, cool. Huh. All right, I got the architecture done. Alright, just gotta adjust a few weights. And the Smith machine is good to go. There's a bit more weight. Golden hour is pretty good today. And we're not actually too sleepy. I think we got knocked out in the treadmill for a bit, which is a bit interesting because we did sleep like an hour earlier, but somehow still got knocked out. But it's okay, I had nothing else to say anyways. The aberration and extinction videos are all being uploaded. Oh, there's one thing though. The sound barrier is very quiet today. That's one thing I noticed. Sound barrier is not very loud. Oh, good though. Yeah, that one's off. Oh, some of the sound barriers are off right now. It's like half of it's actually gone. It gone out today was it's pretty it's normal. Is there anything to talk about today? Not really. I think I just learned a lot from yesterday's Overwatch thing, and that we really should. We spend like multiple hours playing support and ranked. It's just not working out, is it? Like no matter what, it's not working out. We really just have to play DPS or tank. Or we just play 66. But the only thing about 66 is that I guess to a degree it's nice, but there's no like no rank, I guess. Actually, no, there's one thing I like about ranked. The one thing that I kind of that keeps me staying in ranked is because it gives you the opportunity to like fight. Because in quick play you can get steamrolled and that's it, right? But in ranked, at least you get to like you get a second chance, you know? Yeah, that's the only thing I like about ranked is like you get a second chance. But anyways, I think if we do Overwatch today, which we probably will because all of the ARC episodes have to catch up, I'm probably going to try to attack and tank. All the ARC videos are doing very fine. We're doing very successful in Extinction. We had to kind of cheat, not cheat, well yeah, we kind of had to force tame that creature because it was a glitch or something. Plus, the two viewers were like, yeah, you should. I think we're on like 35s now. I mean, everything's kind of just chill. It's just chill, right? There's nothing to talk about, you know. Aberration's doing fine. We could finally play Aberration again soon. The videos are finally catching up. Aquatica, Aquatica's kind of dropped, to be honest. Extinction is chilling. Yeah. Everything's kind of just fine, right? Don't see anything else to really say, you know? Yeah. Weird. Overwatch is kind of just. It doesn't really have much lore. That's the only thing of Overwatch, but when we play like lore videos, no, when we do like lore videos, right? I must talk. But when I cannot talk, I don't know, honestly. Wait, I'm actually correct. The sound barrier is really weak today. The sound barrier is awfully weak today. It is. It really is weak today. There's like six speakers. I think there's like six. Yeah, there's like six speakers here, but only one speaker is actually on. So the sound barrier today is really, really weak. It's alright. It is what it is. Yeah, the problem with playing support on Overwatch and ranked is that if you don't have good DPS, right, you just get poked to death, right? The whole purpose of a DPS is just to murder everything. So when we play healer, if we have a good DPS, all we do is just heal them and they kill everything. But when you have bad DPS players, you just die because they're not shooting back. Anyways, enough about that. We're not going to play support anymore. Is there anything else to talk about? There's nothing else to talk about. The world's kind of just pretty boring right now, isn't it? I mean, there's nothing really happening much at all. You know, money's going to continue going down, is what it is. The law is pretty mid. Well, no, it's just like, there's nothing happening, right? Well, what is there to talk about? You know, Sensei students all kind of just boring now. We could talk about like what? We can talk about ecosystems again, but what else is there to say in the ecosystems, right? Ecosystems, just everyone feels a purpose. What else is there to say? No light without, no light without dark. You know what I mean? It's like everything's kind of just normal. And I guess the story videos we've been making, no, not stories, the, what was I gonna say? I guess the stories we've been like writing down have been also very boring and mid. There's not really much framework to learn from it because, I mean, the framework's pretty simple, right? If it doesn't benefit us, we just avoid and leave it. If it benefits us, then done. What else is there to say? But there's actually just nothing to say. There's no topics to talk about. There's just nothing to say. Like, is what it is, right? What else can you say? I think we're on like, what, 4 5s now? Can't even remember. Water's nearly done. What I do know is that the rice and mackerel is definitely getting pretty. What do you say? How do you say it? Eating it is definitely starting to get slower. I guess. I don't know. Water's nearly done, so we'll go check the weight later. Alright, water's done. The recording stopped for some reason. I don't know when though. It stopped like somewhere. Strange. It's okay though, we didn't even see anything. Yeah, but for some reason the recording stopped, but it's fine. I didn't see anything, so it doesn't matter. Alright, let's go towards. We're probably just gonna have to go back to the dip machine because everything else is a bit compromised, unfortunately, is what it is. Is what it is. It's actually not that compromised. This one here is fine. I just need to, find some things real quick. I was gonna say we should use the dip machine, but that's okay. Got this thing here, so it's fine. Boink and boink. Should be alright. It's pretty simple. Yeah, today's golden hour is decent. I mean, everyone's kind of just chill, you know what I mean? Just chilling. This isn't the most optimal place to do these cables, but it's not very busy, so it doesn't matter. This one can do in the efficiency. Alright, let's go check the weight. And yeah, that's about it. Ain't really much about it, you know? No one's using this, right? Nope. Alright, let's go check the weight. Even though, again, checking the weight doesn't really matter though, does it? Doesn't really matter. We kind of just check it for fun. 70.45. So, the typical suspect. Yesterday we were like 69.90. Don't know. I think it might have been the food. What did I eat yesterday? don't even remember. Now you said I ate the chicken. Yesterday we ate the chicken and mackerel. The day previously was also just chicken and mackerel. So yeah. Is there anything else to say? No, I don't know. Don't know. It's just nothing to say. I need to do like a story video today. Yeah. This time I'll remember, hopefully. That's basically it. Yeah, basically it. Yeah, so see you guys next time. My bad yesterday for not making a story. Or maybe I'll transfer a story over. I might just do that actually. I'll do it. Actually, no, I can't. No, okay, I'll see you guys next time though, alright? There's really nothing, it's just nothing to say, you know? It is what it is.
What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. March 30th. Like I said, now yesterday I didn't give you guys a story, which I apologize for. I was supposed to give you guys a story video, but I forgot and I didn't. But anyways, we're here today. It's a Monday morning, alright? Here's a bit damp from the shower, you know what I mean? Chilling. Alright. So we'll be doing the rest of this video from Mr. Nightmare, the GOAT. Truly the GOAT. Yep, 10 days ago. Wow. Okay, let's finish the rest of it, shall we? So 4 true knock at the door horror stories. Now, if I remember correctly, the first one was pretty bad. Oh no, the first one was smart. First one was smart. Second one was like Scotland, too family friendly, something like that. Lock-in by Angelina. Is it a guy or girl name?
This happened around 2010 when I was about 6 years old. My family and I were living in a small neighborhood.
Am I tripping? I swear I just heard that already before. Have I heard this already?
In Springfield, Oregon. It was my older brother, sister, my mom, and I. But nothing else.
Oh, I'm pretty sure we already finished this entire thing.
This happened to me almost 3 years ago, almost to the day, while I was in Idaho serving a full-time...
We already did this. I apologize. We already did this one. Let's see. Is there any other new ones? Wait, who was that goat that we used to... We looked at before? Hold on. There was the other one that was really good. It was like a true horror story. What was that channel's name? I remember it looked like a deep sea something. Let's see if I can find the channel real quick. This guy, Let's Read. Yeah, he's actually kind of good as well. Which one should we look at? Oh, these are kind of long. Yeah, we did the 3 true sibling ones. That one was pretty good. They are long, but they're good though. Like, they're long stories, but they're good. Creepy childhood friends. I have a childhood friend. Let's do it. Don't give me an ad. Oh, no ads. W. Okay. We shall do this story. Now, obviously, we're not going to do the whole thing. We're going to split it up and see how we go, right? Story 1's going to be 12 minutes long. Lock in, right?
For a while now. I don't have many scary memories or stories, but there's one that always stuck with me ever since I was a little kid, which is when this happened. I can't remember what state we even lived in at the time, but I know we lived in a small town that felt kind of quaint and pleasant to me. I was probably 3 or 4 when this all happened, so obviously my memories are a bit hazy on the details.
Not gonna lie, I'm kind of tempted to do the road trip horror ones. I'm kind of tempted to.
But the main plot of the story, I definitely remember it perfectly. I attended this kindergarten in town.
We're gonna swap. Never mind. I'm gonna do this one instead. 6 true road trip stories. Now that is something I'm a bit more interested in. Not gonna lie. We'll do this one instead. Oh, I'll do this one instead. Alright, here we go. Story 1. Still 18 minutes long? Holy, it's long. 18 minutes long.
Highlands.
Lock in, I guess.
I grew up in this tiny little village up in the Scottish Highlands. And when I say tiny, I mean tiny. Not counting the 2 farms with their big old farmers' houses, there were 5 homes, a farm shop, and a pub. That's it. At the edge of the village was a bus stop, and that was my portal to civilization for the first 17 years of my life. Life was the same for all the kids in the surrounding villages, too. It wasn't just us that lived like that. We had nothing to do at home, and only one notoriously unreliable bus service to get us out of our various little hamlets. So when I reached my mid-teens and owning a car became an option, the prospect of getting my hands on one seemed like my golden ticket to freedom.
That sounds pretty. So this guy, when he's growing up, he lives in like a village, and to get to school, he has to go on a bus. So he's one of those kids. I guess parents can't drive him. Makes sense, I guess. I don't know.
I could go anywhere, do anything, get out of my drab little village for days at a time, and all I needed was a bit of petrol money.
And a
I
car.
worked my butt off, saving every penny I could, putting it all towards this little 3-door hatchback I'd spotted in the local paper. Then on my 17th, my dad revealed he'd already put a deposit down on it, and all I had to do was pay off the rest out of my own money, and I owned the thing. I remember my mates being almost as happy as I was about the new car. After all, they were going to be reaping the benefits of my newfound mobility too. We all drove up to Inverness for the day, went to Domino's, and tried getting served in a few of the pubs there, but as good a laugh as that was, it was hardly the big city or anything, and it was only for a few hours' drive there and back.
Few hours?
We started eyeing up a bit more of a challenging destination, somewhere none of us had ever been, as far from home as my car could take us. So, after some discussion, we decided on London. None of us had ever been to London before, and as much as Edinburgh was the center of our world, London...
Hold on, we need to do research. Context lock in, hold on. Hold on, if I search at Google Maps, it's gonna dox my location. Oh yeah, you can't see my screen, hold on. It's gonna dox me. I knew it would I knew it would dox me. I knew it would dox me. I knew it would dox me. I've had this happen too many times. Edinburgh. Edinburgh. Here? To London. What? What the? What? Is that? Yeet. Oh, hold on, I need to pick it up. Bro. Oh, I'm on the wrong face cam, that's why. What the? So, okay, this person lives in Edinburgh, by the way. So, the story is he lives in Edinburgh. So, here. And he gonna go on a 7-hour trip to the UK? To London. Right, he live all the way up there. Yo, he wants to drive all the way from there to there? 7 hours. I mean, I've actually driven that long. Matter of fact. But when I did it, it's like 3 hours and then 3 hours. In like one day. Back and forth.
London seemed like the center of the universe. It was gearing up to be a real lads-on-tour kind of trip, so we decided to all save up for a few months, then we'd drive down in the summer to make the most of the daylight and the good weather.
Okay.
It took us quite a while, and the planning stage of such a big journey made it feel like we were going to star in our own Lord of the Rings spin-off. But when the time came to pack
Sounds pretty fun to me. Driving with the boys. All the way to London. You know, doesn't sound that bad.
up the car and hit the road, we could barely contain our excitement. We thought it'd be the road trip that would define our young lives, something to bridge the gap from boyhood to adulthood.
Yep.
And in a way, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And even though we wouldn't actually make it to London, none of us would ever be the same again. We planned on completing the 10-hour drive in 2 legs, one 5-hour drive down to Blackpool, where we'd sleep overnight in a
Blackpool. Here. Interesting. They want to stop at... Okay.
hotel, and then the next day, we'd make the next 5 hours or so down to London.
Why can't you just do it in one day? Why do you need to stop in Black... Actually, fine, whatever. You could just YOLO all the way to London, but... I mean, sure, you can stay overnight in Blackpool. I mean, technically, yeah, you could just go all the way to London, but I guess a little stop isn't too bad, right? It's about the journey, not the destination, you know what I mean? So yeah, makes sense to me so far. Nothing gone wrong yet.
Picked out a travel lodge on the edge of town to get ourselves a few rooms, and the drive down was easy enough. But when we got there, we realized that we made a very silly mistake. Instead of actually booking the rooms and paying in advance, we thought that we'd be able to just rock up at leisure. So when the nice lady at the front desk apologized and told us that they were all booked up, we were less than pleased with ourselves. We drove around a bit more, hoping to find somewhere with a free room or two, but to our absolute horror, everywhere was booked up for the night, and in the end, we just had to accept that we had to just keep driving.
Or just sleep in the car. What?
Which was well off the cards because I was completely exhausted, or try our best to get some sleep in the car after parking somewhere safe and discreet. And that's how we ended up in the car park of some service station, leaning the seats back and settling in for a few hours of terrible sleep before we got back on the road to London. I'm not sure how long later, but I woke up to one of my mates, Alistair, tapping me on the shoulder saying he needed to go to the toilet. Given that it was a 3-door, that meant that I needed to get out of the car and pull the seat forward so Ali had room to get out. I'm absolutely banjacked car and pull the seat forward so Ali had room to get. Given that it was a 3-door, that tapping me on the shoulder saying he needed to go to the toilet. Given that it was a 3-door, that meant that I needed to get out of the car and pull the seat forward so Ali had room to get out. I'm absolutely banjaxed by this point, so I grumpily get out of the car so that Ali could go and relieve himself in some nearby bushes. The noise woke the other lads up who weren't best pleased to have their sleep disturbed. Then I sat on the edge of my driver's seat, feet on the concrete outside, watching Ali walking off into this dark corner of the car park. I remember rubbing my eyes, telling myself it would all be worth it once we were raising hell among the poor, unsuspecting Sassenachs. But then seconds later, I hear the bushes rustling, and I looked up to see Ali bursting out of them, running full pelt back at the car. Before I could even say anything, Ali is just jabbering, "Start the car, start the car, start the car," while basically shoving me out of the way so he can clamber into the back seat again. This obviously had everyone in the car asking him what his problem was, but he's just ignoring them, focusing on telling me that we needed to get moving. Quite quickly, I worked out that whatever had him so freaked out had obviously been in the bushes he'd walked into to take a wee, and I remember turning back around to look at them before seeing the shape of a person suddenly walk into the orange lamplight. I could see it was a bloke.
Bro pissed on a homeless man, GG.
I could just tell from the look of him, but other than that, I couldn't make out much detail. What I could see, though, was that this bloke was power walking over to our car, and not in a way that suggested that they were going to be calm or polite about their little encounter with Ollie.
Yeah, bro pissed on a homeless man. GG is what it is.
God knows what had happened, but it obviously wasn't good. I know it sounds a bit selfish, but the first thing that went through my mind was, he's gonna damage my car. But see it from my perspective. Ali was in the back seat by that point, so if the random bloke's got plans for violence, it's either me or my car that's going to get it.
How many lads are you with? Because you only got, what, is it a 3-seater? Yo, what's good, Josh? Went to work and missed a bunch of context. It's all good. We're just doing a little horror story section real quick.
That had me twisting the key into the ignition like a madman. Then as soon as I got a decent rev going, I put my foot down and we zoomed out of the car park.
Again, there's no context on how many dudes was on the trip. Like, if it's like 3 of you guys, 3v1, easy. Like, he says like a 3 3-seat car. So how many lads are in this trip? Don't even know.
To the main road. Once we appear to be safe, the lot of us are basically screeching at Allie to tell us how he'd managed to piss someone off in the middle of nowhere and in the middle of the night.
Yeah, he pissed on a homeless guy.
Allie was a bit of a joker back then, still is to be honest, and he had this way of rubbing people up the wrong way. He just couldn't help himself, almost like he kept all his smart comments bottled up. He exploded. It was always getting us in trouble back home, so naturally our first assumption was that he pulled a classic Allie and gotten us chased away from our sleeping spot. He just about blew his top at the accusation, completely denied being rude to anyone, then told everyone to shut up so he could explain what had happened. When he said it, I actually thought that he was lying to us, and that it was a way of getting out of the doghouse with us so he wouldn't start the trip in everyone's bad books. But then, when we made him swear on his mom's life, he did, telling us again, "Boys, I swear to God, I think I just witnessed a murder."
Oh.
It's about 3 in the morning at that point, on this quiet stretch of dual carriageway, somewhere between Manchester and Liverpool, and we're all listening as Ali starts telling us his story. He said he walked into the bushes.
I'm doing good today. I'm doing good. We're doing this horror story and then probably go into aberration.
Side of the car park for some privacy, and then just as he's about to whip his bobby out, he heard something not too far away from him. Not wanting to start peeing until he knew he was alone, Ali said he creeps through the bushes a bit more, trying to work out what and where the sound was. He said it sounded like something was punching a pillow or something, like these muted strikes that lined up with someone making these soft grunting noises. Now, if your mind is building a slightly unsavory image of what that noise could be, you and Ali think alike, because he too thought that he was about to catch two people playing a wee game of hide the sausage.
Wait, what?
At least, that was his excuse for why he was so curious and why he went skulking through some bushes in the middle of the night. But then, instead of finding two wrong'uns engaged in a bit of
You
hanky-panky,
work out today? Yep, sure did.
he sees what he can only describe as a bloke kneeling over another, looking like he was slamming his fist down onto the other one's chest. The bloke taking it is lying on the grass verge, not making a sound. And that's when Ali realizes that the bloke isn't just hitting the other one with his fist. He's got a knife in his hand. He's not punching him. He's stabbing him. When he realized what he was looking at, Ali said he must have made a noise or something, what I imagine to be either a gasp or a rustle of the bushes or something. The bloke hears it, turns toward Ali, and that was Ali's cue to come legging it back through the bushes and into the lights of the car park. Ali finishes his little horror story, and we're still in a state of disbelief. Only that time, it wasn't so much because we didn't believe him, it was because we didn't want to believe him. His tone of voice, the way he's telling us the story, everything about the way he was acting made me think that he was actually telling the truth.
Well, again, the context of the story is kind of a bit weird. Like, how early did he tell you? Because if you're still in that town, right? Wouldn't you just drive to the nearest police station? Like, instead of like, just drive to the nearest police station, right? Be like, oh, yo, someone murdered down there. Yeah, cool. Because if you just drive off like that, you're gonna look like you're gonna end up being like a suspect. The police are gonna see like the cameras and see your car drive out the drive out the car park. You're gonna be labeled as a suspect.
He was a brave lad. I suppose you had to be with a mouth like that.
Should have just drove to the
So to
police
see
station.
him so piss-your-pants frightened wasn't something we thought he could fake. We're still trying to pick apart his story, poke holes in it, or get him.
Let's have a look at what Blackpool even looks like. In the bushes somewhere, huh? Let's have a look at what this place looks like. So he's saying that they live in a service station. They're parked in a service station, and he went to go piss around the bush, and he saw someone murdered. What is this even? Let's see what it looked like. Let's see. Gas station. Let's see what a gas station looks like in this place. Okay. Oh, this place looks okay. Let's see, maybe like this. But you would snitch? You would be a snitch? Depends. What, so they're just sleeping in a So this is what it looks like, I guess. 2022. He pee in a bush. So he's like parked in somewhere, pees in a bush, sees someone beating someone up and runs away. Again, we don't even know the context on how old the story is.
To admit that he was exaggerating or something, but he wouldn't. He swore blind that that's what he'd seen, and that we needed to get to a police station or something.
Okay.
Then right as he says that about telling the Jakes, I look up into my rear view to see a pair of headlights coming up really, really fast on my rear bumper. I tune out of the conversation for a second, watching the headlights and expecting them to start passing me, but they didn't. And the next thing I know, the headlights are so close and so bright that they're lighting up the whole inside of my car. This then gets the attention of the lads, and as I'm panicking, wondering what the bloody hell this other driver is thinking, I just hear Ali say, "Oh no, it's him." A split second after that, wham. The driver speeds up and smashes his front bumper into my rear. We all let out these shouts of terror as I kept my hands gripped on the steering wheel.
Yeah, drive to the
I
police
just
station.
about kept control of the car, but another hit like that, and I might not be able to stop from just careening off the road. It was like being stuck in this horrible catch-22. We'd speed up and try to get away, and I'd definitely lose control of the car.
Again, it's really hard to understand the context because we don't know what kind of era this is in, right? It sounds like a really old era because he did say that he bought his car from the papers. So like in the olden days, you'd actually buy a car by looking at these papers, and he's like, you know, oh, this car's like a couple grand. This car's a couple grand. And he's like, it's like not as modern because obviously in today's world, like so many CCTVs everywhere, you know, you're gonna get caught pretty fast, right? But this sounds like the old times. So we're driving to the police station. I mean, yeah, driving to the police station seems like the only way to somewhat survive this encounter. Hit my car, you're done. Sure, it just depends on the era. It's in London though. The only context we know is that this is happening in Blackpool, and their mission is to drive all the way from Glasgow all the way to London. Jeez.
The next time the driver hit us, or slow down, try to pull over, and face the fury of whoever was trying to run us off the road. In the end, the driver decided for us, but the next time he hit us, he managed to focus the force onto one side of my bumper. Not exactly like a pit maneuver if you know what one of those is, but it was basically the same effect. I completely lost control of the car, and even though I tried to keep us on the road, we ended up smashing into a metal barrier at the side of the road, and the car went down a small slope on the other side and flipped over a few times in the process.
What?
I just remember closing my eyes and thinking, this is how I'm going to die. And I gripped the steering wheel as hard as I possibly could while I waited for something to just switch my lights out. And suddenly, the car was still. Everything hurt, but I was still awake and...
You're telling me so these guys rammed the back of his car and then they fell off a slope and now they flipped over.
I was still alive. Somehow we'd been lucky enough to land wheels down, and the first thing I did was turn off the engine because I could see smoke coming out from under the bonnet. We're all in agony, but I knew from the various groans and curses that everyone was relatively okay. But then I suddenly realized that I can smell petrol, and I knew that we were in serious trouble. Only the passenger side door was working and only one of the seats would come forward, and we did actually manage to get everyone out of the car. There were also no fires at all, but we didn't know that at the time, so even though we were in a considerable amount of pain, we did manage to get out. I feel like now would be an appropriate time to tell you all of this happened back before mobile phones were an everyday time.
Okay, so this is an era without mobile phones. So they can't even call the police. They can't even like call the police or anything. Yo, that's just straight up, yeah, you're right, Josh. It's just straight up fighting now, right? You got three boys. I'm assuming it's three boys. Three lads in a car. It flipped over. Someone's chasing you. It's just got to be a brawl now, right? You ain't got no phone, no CCTV, right? It's fight for your life at this point. 3v1. Yo, what's up, Zin?
This meant that if we wanted to contact the police, We had to either find a roadside phone which could be used in case of emergencies, or we had to hope that another driver was passing so we could
Nah, it's just straight up just it's a 3v whatever now at this point. This point, such an old era, you really just have to fight or like sling some guns or something. Oh, I'll be back. I drank a lot of water. My bad. My bad. Your time. You remember those days? All right. So right now, the best situation for them is to probably just fight it out. Right. There's no other way to make it out because it's like nighttime. They just flip the car. Yeah, it's just gonna have to be a fight. No other way about it.
them to get some help. Only two of us, me and Fraser, were good enough to walk anywhere, but that meant leaving Allie and our other mate Connor alone by the roadside.
So it's a 4v1 now. It's 4-man. It's a 4-man group now. Okay, so 4 group. So four men.
If the bloke who smashed us off the road came back and saw Allie there sitting all helpless at the side of the road, he and Connor would be in quite a bit of trouble. After all, if the bloke really was trying to get rid of any witnesses, he might not hesitate to hurt the both of them, or even hang around and wait for us to come back.
Why would you split up?
Luckily, that didn't happen though, because our car came around the bend just as me and Fraser were heading off, and the
Wait, they really just about to leave their friends alone to find help?
woman driving had one of those old-style mobile phones that looked like a brick with an antenna on the end of it, so she was able to get in touch with the Jakes for us. And we just about begged her to hang around until they arrived, and although the van that drove us off the road didn't reappear, we were terrified that he was going to come back to finish the job.
But there's 4 of you guys. How are you not? So a woman came with a mobile or some kind of old mobile phone, called the police for you, and now you're scared that she's gonna drive away. I don't understand. There's like 4 of you guys though. 4 guys.
Started. In the end, we all spent the rest of the night in a hospital in Greater Manchester, with 2 police officers hanging around to get all of our stories. Each of us had a collection of sprains and other injuries, but nothing that a few days' rest wouldn't see on the mend. We were incredibly lucky, and that goes without saying, and one doctor in particular reminded me of this, saying if we'd been going 10 or 15 miles over, or if the car had stayed on the road, we probably wouldn't have survived. That part really played out in my mind because, like I mentioned, I was actually trying to keep us on the road, thinking that that was our best option. I stand by it, because if we'd have crashed into a river or something, that would have been far worse. But if I had gone a bit faster to try and get away and then lost control, none of us would have walked away from that crash that night. I was able to call my mom and dad from the hospital, and although they were horrified at the news that we'd crashed, they were just as relieved as we were to hear that we'd walked away with just a few sprains and bruises. Obviously, I was gutted about my car. Months and months of work had been almost a complete waste of time.
You got insurance or no?
But somehow, given how serious the situation was, I didn't feel like I'd really lost anything. I still had my health, all of my mates were okay aside from serious whiplash, and I could still borrow my dad's car if I ever really needed it. Losing my car was crap, but in the grand scheme of things, it didn't really matter. Only much later did we find out that the police had found evidence of a violent crime near the car park we'd been trying to sleep. They didn't find any dead body or anything, but there was enough blood to corroborate Allie's story about seeing a person getting stabbed. The van that had crashed into us was found about a week later, abandoned in some woodland on the other side of Manchester. There were bloodstains on the inside, and the registration matched one that had been...
Let me guess. These criminals or these murderers got the dead body, murdered him in the bushes, dragged the dead body, put him back in the van, chased him down, pit maneuvered the victim, the witnesses, make them crash, drive around, and then just disappeared. Dump the body, dump the van in the woods, alright, and then they're chilling. No one's gonna catch him. Just like Walter White. What? My car is like a girlfriend? I don't even know what that means. I think you must have heard something wrong. Yeah. Because like, especially since there's no mobile phones that those in that area, no mobile phones. It's like, you know, Breaking Bad, right? Crime's pretty easy. No one can track you. Like, if the area is that old, there's no phones. You've got like those phones that you can snap in half don't even exist either. So yeah, it's like pretty much impossible to catch. Yeah. I mean, the criminals, I guess the criminals did good. You know, pit maneuvered the witnesses, got them killed in the road or something. Easy. Back to work, I guess. Doesn't like the old days have like what? Like those gangsters, what do you call them? And the London gangsters? It said was no big deal. What do you call those? It's like those London gangsters. I don't know what they called though. Roadmen?
Sitting in the same car park we'd try to get some sleep in. All in all, we'd narrowly avoided permanently being silenced as witnesses to a murder. But beyond that, we didn't learn much else for quite a while. We had no idea if they ever caught the guy who chased us, why he killed the bloke Ali saw. Nothing more than we were very, very lucky to get away alive. But then, my parents get a call from Fraser's parents because Fraser's aunt was working down in Leeds and had been following the story. The murder victim was the joint owner of some builder's firm in Blackpool, and he'd recently taken his partner to court over some kind of fraud thing. Not long after the bloke's body was found, i.e. the one we found, this sticky-fingered partner of his goes missing and becomes the prime suspect of his partner's murder. That was the fellow who chased us in his van, and Ali had actually stumbled across him, finishing off the partner he'd robbed. The worst thing, though, is that Ali had been mistaken about the murderer stabbing his partner in the chest, because the actual cause of death was strangulation. The bloke had brought a knife along because he wanted to make it as hard as possible for the police to identify his partner's body. He wasn't stabbing the bloke in the chest. It was just too dark for Ali to see the victim was being stabbed in the face. We didn't learn that little detail until much later on. Fraser's dad had told my dad, but my dad just didn't have the heart to tell me something that horrific. It took until we were all in our mid-20s for it to make its way around to me and my friends, and when it did, let me tell you, chills. This all happened so long ago that me and my 3 old pals are mostly married with kids and stuff and living in other places, so we don't get to see each other as much as we'd like.
R.I.P.
But every so often, we're all back home at the same time and we'll go for a pint in one of the locals. Spirits are always high during these wee reunions, but at some point, the conversation inevitably turns towards the crash, and how lucky we all are that we got to go.
The guy who probably pit maneuvered them probably thought they all died from the crash, not gonna lie. I mean, he did say that the car was like smoking and like it was messed up, right? So obviously the van didn't double check. He just like after he made them crash, he just left. Makes sense, right? Did they even catch the guy? I don't think they did. The suspect, right? No, was it? I don't know. That story, I think there were stories done.
Go home alive after it. When there's one bloke who never got to go home at all.
End of the story. I'm not sure what we can really learn from. You can't not. What can you learn from that? Honestly, it's kind of like is what it is. You drove away, but then I mean, you would have just drove to like a police station. But again, such an old era. It's hard to really know what to do, especially since I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of about it, huh? It is what it is. They survived. Guy got murdered. Done. Pit maneuvered off the road. Assumed it did, and just carried on. Right, and that was again before mobile phones, so I'm not sure what era that is, but it's an era where they can't track a murderer's location, right? Like in today's modern age, they'll just track each other's cell phone number and say, oh yeah, this guy's cell phone number, the last time he was active was close to this guy's number. And then, you know, frequencies, blah, 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 location track, caught. Plus CCTV cameras all over the streets. Again, depends on your area, of course. Gas station would have had security cameras too. Well, again, it's just such an old era. It's like Breaking Bad, right? So I'm such a Gen Z. That I can only relate to the TV shows. All right, well, I think it's time to go to some aberration now, right? Yeah, it's about time.